What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Triple Threat Show. As always, I'm your host, Mara Fatemi. On a beautiful Monday night here, September 15th, I'm joined today by my good friend and special guest, joining for the first time here on the Triple Threat Show, Xavier Yepes. How are you today, Xavier?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good, man. I know you're in a little bit of a dark room. For those that don't, just for full disclosure, he is not a serial killer. He's not trying to hide his face. The poor guy has just had eye surgery, so his eye is a little bit uh, sensitive, so to speak, to the light. So powering through the injuries, he is here nonetheless, making his debut, and just here to talk about some football, man. How you hanging in there? You doing okay? You were able to watch some of those games this past weekend?
We're pulling through. Patriots win. Victory Monday. That's how it be.
Hell yeah, brother. That's awesome. And that's honestly, let's start with those Patriots. That was a great weekend we saw from the New England Patriots. I mean, going up into Miami for the first time, winning a game in Miami for the first time since 2019, since the Tom Brady era in New England. As crazy as that is to say, 6 years has gone by since you guys won in Miami. Did you expect this one, Xavier? Did you expect this one to pull through the way it did? Were you shocked of how close this game was? Give me your thoughts on this game and how it played out.
Well, we always know it's going to be a tough battle down there at Hard Rock Stadium. No easy games down in Miami. Brutal heat, almost 90 degrees. But they came ready to fight. Some sloppy football on both ends. To be expected partially, but Tua's had the Pats number. 7-0 against them since he came into the league, so it was nice to finally get one against him.
No doubt about it. And honestly, let's start. Do you want to start with that? Which side you pick? You pick on this one. Which side do you want to? Do we want to talk about here when we're starting this conversation off? You want to talk about the Pats first? You want to talk about some Dolphins offense,
We can start with the Dolphins offense, or I mean, Dolphins defense can also start off with
some Dolphins
allowing
defense.
touchdown almost like first six drives of the season.
That's crazy. Yeah, it was what? What did Daniel Jones went like 6 for 6? The Colts did last week against them, and then the Patriots started off for
Yeah,
the first
Colts
two
scored
drives as
on
well.
every drive. Colts scored on every drive they had last week, and Pats scored on most of their drives this week. I mean, bar a couple punts in there.
Crazy stuff. That Dolphins defense is a mess. And honestly, yeah, we should start there. I mean, when we're looking at that Dolphins defense, I mean, you trade Minka Fitzpatrick in the offseason, or you trade Jalen Ramsey for Minka Fitzpatrick in the offseason. You sign Bradley Chubb to a nice long year extension. That was a good move. I mean, across the board, you still have you have the expatriate Matthew Judon. You have Jordan Phillips as well. A couple expatriates over there. Across the board, though, outside of those few guys that I just mentioned, this is a pretty young, porous defense. Inexperience across the board. Everywhere you look, it's inexperience with this Dolphins defense. Do you think they can turn this around? Are you looking at Minka? I'm not Minka. Are you looking at Mike McDaniel's to try and figure this out? What are you seeing here? Do you think the offense is going to be the solution?
And I don't think they have much hope this year. High-powered offenses always when you got Tyreek and Waddle. I mean, defense is always going to be kept on their toes, but needing a team players only meeting just 1 week into the season, that's never a good sign. And I mean, I think that's just a sign of what's to come this year for the Dolphins. Gonna be a rough year for them.
Yeah, and the owner has already come out and said that if Mike McDaniel's can't right this ship in the next 6 to 8 weeks, he will be most likely out of Miami. I personally think it's going to be sooner than that. I don't know about you, but especially with that players only meeting news coming out, it just feels like Mike McDaniel's lost that locker room a long time ago. It looks like a mess, an outright mess. This is a team Miami that 2 years ago we were looking at them as a possible AFC Championship dark horse, a team that could rival with the Chiefs, rival with the Cincinnati Bengals, even rival with the Buffalo Bills. And time again, they've just failed to show up in the big moments. Sometimes it has been dealing with the cold in Buffalo, dealing with the cold in Kansas City, but this is the worst of them. I mean, we did see a new revamped Dolphins offense, it was not nearly as bad as week one. Tua throwing for 315 yards. We saw Tyreek Hill have his first 25-yard catch for the first time since 2023, which is a crazy, crazy thing to say. But he finally had a 100-yard game again, once again, in Tyreek Hill, one of the best receivers in the league. Do you think this is the end of the line for this Dolphins offense? Switching gears to that side of things. Do you think this is a Dolphins offense that's going to get blown up quick, fast, and in a hurry? What are your thoughts on it in week two, in their week two performance?
Yeah, I think the Dolphins front office is going to be facing some tough questions in the next coming weeks, considering value of players versus future of the team. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be a name you're going to see in some trade discussions coming up around the trade deadline. Do the Dolphins look to sell high on him in what looks to be a lost season? Teams out there can use receivers, and teams will be willing to pay high prices for someone like Tyreek Hill. So is he someone that we can see either asking out or being offered and put on the table by the Dolphins? I think that's something that we have to seriously start considering now, seeing what the fate looks to be for this Dolphins team in 2025.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. This is a Dolphins team, like we're both saying, is a mess, and they're going to be a team that we're going to keep our eye on. This is not the last time that we're going to be talking about this Dolphins team. Hopefully, they can right the ship because I always want to see them being competitive. They're one of those teams that when they're competitive, it's just a better league to watch. But nonetheless, let's switch gears over to that Patriots offense. And the first thing I kind of want to talk about is that running back room. Ramondre Stevenson kind of having a big game over there in New England in week two. 54 yards on the ground, 88 yards through the air, 5 receptions for 88 yards. I mean, he was a utility guy in both departments. Drake May was loving him in week two across the board. How have you looked? How have you thought of Ramondre's first couple weeks here in New England? And did you expect it? Do you think Travion Henderson is still going to be able to get that RB1 role if, of course, if Ramondre can stay healthy?
Well, Patriots have historically always been a running back by committee team, especially with Josh McDaniels as the OC. So I feel like that's what we should be expecting coming into this year. And through 2 weeks, that definitely seems to be the case. And Mondre, always known as a ground and pound guy, and reporters were asking Mike Vrabel after the game. No one has seen him as a receiving back to date. But then he goes into week two Sunday, yesterday, and leads the Patriot team in receiving yards. Just an impressive all around outing by him. Uh, I think Henderson, Gibson, Stevenson, they're all going to have their chances to contribute. And when their numbers are called, they're going to need to be ready to get out there and hit on all cylinders because the next guy's always ready to step up. But yeah, remarkable from the running back room yesterday. Gibson chipping in with that kickoff return for a touchdown, 90 yards to respond to that punt return touchdown. The Dolphins had seemingly deflating the Patriots' energy before Gibson snapped all that back to the Pats sideline. And then obviously you had Mondre go for what turned out to be Drake May's longest career passing play. So yeah, very impressive running back room, lots of potential to come, and then just keep looking to see Henderson get more involved as the weeks come.
Absolutely. I think I'm right there with you. Henderson's a rookie this year. Ramondre's been the running back for the last 3 years at least now, 3 or 4 years. I can't remember exactly, but he's been the running back one for for the majority of his career for a long time now. And he's going to stay that way, especially with a running back, with a rookie guy, just to grow behind him, to give him some time to grow and have some opportunities to make some mistakes as the backup. You'd never want to throw a rookie in the flame and just say, okay, we don't have anybody else. You go do it. Because if you do that, a rookie's just going to either, rarely do they become a star, especially, I mean, sometimes they do, but it's very rare and it's not very the greatest thing to do. But you just want to give them an opportunity to grow and learn. The only other thing I kind of want to bring up, I mean, it was a very balanced attack, and you bring up uh Josh McDaniels being the OC. I mean, Drake May threw for 230 yards, but the Patriots rushed for 122 yards. it was a balanced attack on both sides of the ball, running the ball, passing. The defense is a little bit porous, and I'm looking at that side of things to clean up. I think when they get Christian Gonzalez back, they'll be okay. But until that happens, I'm looking at this Patriots offense to just pick up the slack, and they did. They did in this game, and that's what they've been doing best. I don't know if you saw that picture of Antonio Gibson. Just one funny comments. I don't know if you saw that picture of Antonio Gibson and Mike Vrabel running with Antonio Gibson. Did you see that one on the
Of
sideline
course,
with Vrabel mid stride running with Gibson? It was one of the best pictures of the week.
incredible. And then always got to give credit to the offensive line as well. I mean, two rookies in there. Will Campbell, obviously fourth overall pick, highly touted coming out of LSU. But then you also got Jared Wilson contributing for a remarkable game by the Patriots offensive line, both making that running game possible, but also protecting Drake May back there in the backfield.
No doubt about it. It was a fun game, a kind of back and forth matchup, ping pong game, especially going into the fourth quarter. And the Patriots getting the dub late in that one. Did you have any doubt going into that fourth quarter that the Patriots might lose this game, especially in the last 5 minutes?
You know, those games are always down to the wire. Just got to keep the faith. I mean, I'm not sure if you've either watched Super Bowl 49 or 51, but there's always times when the Pats seem to be out of it. And, just can't ever count them out till the bell's done.
Yeah, yeah, bringing up Super Bowl 49. We'll talk about that another time. I'm not in the mood to deal with you right now. But like going up, honestly, Trent, that's a good transition right there. Got the Patriots fan on one side, you got the Seahawks fan on the other. Let's switch gears over to that Seahawks sideline and talk about their game because they had a pretty fun game over there against the Steelers. DK Metcalf making his return against the Seahawks, not in Seattle, but nonetheless making his first appearance against the Seahawks for the first time since that trade in the offseason. It's been a crazy ride. I mean, the Seahawks have to play the Raiders preseason week 1, and then they have to play DK Metcalf week 2. I mean, it's been a reunion trip so far in the first few weeks here of the NFL season, and it's been a fun ride. But when we're talking about this game, did you see any of this game, Xavier, or no?
I didn't get to watch it live, no.
No. Okay, that's perfectly fine. But I mean, when we're talking about this game, I'm looking at Sam Darnold specifically because this is a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that is one of the best in the league. Mike Tomlin always has his defenses ready to go. They have Jalen Ramsey back there. They still have Cam Hayward. They still have Highsmith. They have a lot of big name guys on that defensive line that are going to cause you problems everywhere you look. Sam Darnold throwing for 2 touchdowns, still had 2 picks, but nearly threw for 300 yards. Kenneth Walker rushing for over 100 yards. I mean, Jack Smith and Jigba receiving for over 100 yards. It was a really balanced attack over there in Seattle. Um, did you see that Caleb Johnson play in the end zone where he let the ball get kicked off in the end zone, Xavier? And the Seahawks recovered it for the touchdown?
It's a crazy play all around. I mean, you can't have errors like that if you want to win football games.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I don't. Has Caleb Johnson been released since that happened? I don't think I saw any news about that, but I thought I was going to see it this morning. Nonetheless,
Expect to, yeah, for sure.
definitely expected to. That was a big mistake, and you can't have that, especially in the league, especially playing against a team like Seattle that has such a high-powered offense. But I kind of want to talk about that defense for a second. And I know it's not like you were just talking about Super Bowl 49. I'm not saying they're the Legion of Boom, but you did have DK Metcalf commenting, calling them the death zone, quote unquote, so to speak. Have you been shocked, pleasantly surprised by that Seahawks defense? Do you think they're legit? Take me through what you saw from that defense, from what you know.
You know, I think we're still early on in the season where we're figuring out exactly who's got what and what teams are coming to meet or surpass our expectations. Looking at that Seahawks defense, it's tough. They held a high powered 49ers team to 17 points last week, 2 scoreless quarters. Like, that's a promising sign right there. And then backing that up, holding Aaron Rodgers and the Pittsburgh Steelers to a much more measly result compared to the previous week. Two positive signs, but 2 weeks is a small sample size. and I'd like to see more. I'd like them to see them face some more different teams, different quarterbacks to get a real grasp around maybe week 6, week 7 of what this team might really have in them.
No doubt about it. The year is young, my friend, and we are just taking this season 1 week at a time over here in Seattle. No expectations. I know you guys in New England had a lot of expectations. Mike Vrabel, new offensive line, new OC, a lot of expectations over there in New England. But over here in Seattle land, over in the Pacific Northwest, we're taking our time. We know this is a team that loves to get ahead of itself, and we're not trying to do that. Just speaking for a lot of Seahawks fans out there. But um
And that's wise, like speaking for Seahawk fans, there's been some historical moments in history
uh
where there have been expectations that you have let get the best of you, leading to some huge drops. Um,
oh
but you don't want to raise your, as you know best, as you just said, it's never over till it's over. Don't get your hopes up too soon, because for all you know, it's just gonna be intercepted at the goal line.
alrighty, y'all. We're gonna take a brief break. I'm just kidding. Um
But moving on to the next game of the week, what did you
Give me
think?
your next game of the
There
week,
was some
Javier, Mr. Super Bowl 49. Give me your next game of the week.
there was a lot of talk of this online and social media. I'm not sure if you've seen anything about this, but sort of a marquee matchup. We had the Philadelphia Eagles at KC last night or yesterday in the evening, not Sunday night, but there was a lot of talk about something not to do with the game, happened pre-game instead, with the Chiefs players seen wearing free number 4 shirts out there for warm-ups. Coach Andy Reid was asked about this after the game, and he expressed that it was more so out of support for Rice, not seeing their teammate out there. Boys just want to see their guy out on the field with them. What do you think? Do you think this is good move or questionable by the Chiefs?
I think it's a little bit questionable, especially from what we saw. This is a convicted case. Rasheed Rice has already been given a 30-day jail sentence. The NFL already gave him a 6-game suspension. I know there were free Brady things, and I know this is a thing that a lot of players you see in today's day, but you don't see a player well, didn't get caught for racing is allegedly racing another person, going over 120
Now
miles an hour, causing a
he
six-car
pleaded
crash,
guilty.
having 2 felony cases, having a 5-year probation sentence, having jail time, having a game suspension, and then on top of all of that, the players come out, his teammates supporting him. Of course, if the teammates just came out and said, Rasheed Rice, we wish you all the best. Hope you're doing well. We want you to come back soon. Stay training, my friend. If they said that, we would have no problem. Nobody would have said a peep about any of this. The problem is they walked out there, shirts blazing, saying, "Free Rasheed Rice, free Ford." No, no, you cannot do that, especially for what's happened against him. It's one thing to support him. It's an entirely other thing to go up against what judges have said, what the NFL has said, and so forth. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a little bit of a punishment handed down for the NFL from that, because I mean, you could call it protesting, but this is a decision that the NFL made, and I think they made a little bit of a gracious. They handled Rasheed Rice with a little bit of grace, because I mean, we saw a similar situation happen with his name just slipped my mind. Oh well, I'll think of it. Oh, Henry Ruggs. We saw a similar situation happen with Henry Ruggs, even though he was drunk driving, he actually killed a person, but same speed, same situation, and he's been banned for life. So across the
Yeah,
board,
like I
yeah.
mean,
Sorry.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say across the board, it was a mistake for them to wear that. But let me hear your thoughts on it.
For sure. I was gonna say, I think you're spot on with everything you just said. Just a lack of judgment. I mean, brings question to the leadership in that locker room right now. Seems that got to be focusing your priorities on the right things. It's a football game. Got to come ready to play, not to be making other messages like that for a convicted felon. There's just not really the time or place for that before a football game. And I think that the coaching staff has to do a better job setting the tone in that locker room. The captains, I mean, when you have Travis Kelce, one of your leaders, one of the greatest tight ends in that franchise's history, if not the greatest in KC, is out there wearing that shirt. That just sends a message to the younger players that that type of behavior is okay. And Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey himself have to do some reflecting in that locker room, now down 0-2, and just like reconsider their priorities. I fully expect the NFL to be justified in handing out a fine to the Kansas City Chiefs. But I just think pair this with towards the end of the game, blanking on exactly who said it, but the Chiefs defensive line, one of their players was chirping Jalen Hurts as he was kneeling the ball down. Oh, you don't even have 100 rushing yards in today's game. And Hurts just clapped back, yeah, well, we won the game. So shut your mouth. So it's just like focusing on the wrong things, prioritizing winning a football game over meaningless messages, supporting your fellow teammate, or a meaningless dot for a quarterback who's Hurts has his priorities straight. He's focused on coming into KC and getting that victory. You know, if the Chiefs defense is focused on holding him to under 100 rushing yards, that's not winning the football game. They got to focus on winning the football game first. So KC needs to reevaluate after these tough first 2 weeks, because they can be on the outside looking in for the playoff picture come later in the season.
I like it. I like it, man. And let's throw out that take. Do you think the Chiefs wouldn't make the playoffs this year? Do you think they win the AFC West?
You know, I'm a believer in the Chargers and what they got going on. I'm very interested to see how tonight goes. But I think the AFC West, it's it's going to come down to if the Chargers win the games they should win. If the Chargers play sloppy football this year, if they make careless mistakes and let those games that should be in the win column fall away from them, then they're going to open that door for KC. But if the Chargers close it up, do what they're supposed to do week in, week out, tighten up football, John Harbaugh has a tight staff running over there, and they're hitting on point with Justin Herbert as QB, I believe that they can surprise the Chiefs and take the AFC West this year.
No doubt about it. And you bring up honestly a lot of great points with the Chargers. We can talk about the Chargers a little bit later. They haven't started their week 2 matchup yet. They start on I don't know if it's officially the latest game to ever be played or to be kicked off, but 10 p.m. later tonight. It's about 8 o'clock here on the East Coast. So we got a couple hours until that gets kicked off. So we'll leave that until the end of our show here. But if we're gonna do a quick preview into what we think about the AFC West, you bring up the Chargers. I personally still am rolling with the Denver Broncos. I'm still a Bo Nix fan. I still like what this team has done over the last 2 years. I'm still a believer in this team. I think they're having a little bit of a slow start, and I think that was a crazy game last night. I think the Colts got away with a call late in that game that gave them another opportunity to kick that field goal and eventually win that one. But I'm still a Bo Nix believer, and I think this team is going to be up there with the Kansas City Chiefs, with the Chargers, and still going to give them a lot of problems late in the season when they have their head-to-head matchup. Speaking of which, Broncos play the Chargers next week, so that should be a really fun matchup. But it's honestly go right over there to the rest of the AFC West, check in with the rest of those teams. Broncos Colts. I know I just touched on it. Bo Nix, 22 of 30 for 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Dobbins, 76 yards and a touchdown. Troy Franklin, 89 yards and a touchdown. When we're looking across the board, I mean, they had a pretty well-balanced attack. But talk to me about those Colts, Xavier. 2 weeks in a row, Daniel Jones looks like he is the man in Indianapolis. Do you think he's the future? Is he was showing some signs of like an Andrew Luck-esque kind of player? Is he all talk? Is he that guy? Give me your take on these Indianapolis Colts.
You know, I mean, I think that last statement you made is kind of crazy and blasphemous, Andrew Luck type of player.
I said esque.
But
Yeah.
yeah, good clarification. But I think that game just came down to a crazy swing at the end of the game. The Broncos had the opportunity to win that game, and they just blew it. And to be honest, we have to give more credit to the Broncos for losing that game than the Colts for winning it.
Fair take. Very fair take. I think, I mean, 22 of 29 in week one for 272. What do you have? 23 of 34? Yeah, what, 23 of 34 for 316 in week two? 165 rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor. Four receptions for 79 yards for Tyler Warren. He looks like the real deal over there in Indianapolis. Like he wasn't already the real deal in Penn State. He looks like an absolute stud in Indianapolis. I think he's going to be around for a long, long time. But the Colts are a really fun team to keep our eye out on. We always know Jonathan Taylor is that guy, but can Daniel Jones be a good game manager with this offensive line, with that defense that's back there? They still have DeForest Buckner back there. They still have some great players, Xavier Howard. They have some great players across the board here in Indianapolis, and they could find a way to make the AFC South interesting. I think Daniel Jones is not as bad as we think he is. I just think the Giants organization as a whole is that bad, but I don't think Indianapolis is that bad. I think we got to give them. I think we got to give Daniel Jones some time to grow. We saw Sam Darnold show up in Minnesota and play like an outstanding game manager. We could see a similar situation with the Colts. I'm not saying that their coach is Kevin McConnell. I don't even know who is the Colts coach. Do you know off the top of your head, Xavier? I forget. I'm
Let's
sorry.
let's take a quick look.
Shane Steichen. He came from
Right.
Philadelphia. He was one of those coaches. He just he got hired 2 years ago. Has 18 years of coaching experience. So he's one of those guys that has a lot of experience. Went 8-9 last year, but I expect him to show up this year and actually really have a legit chance to win the AFC South. I like this Colts team a lot. I think they have a lot of promise. Am I
Yeah,
crazy
we'll
on
just
that?
have to wait and see.
Am I crazy on that one?
I think that might be in the week two overreaction category, but I mean, we can see. I feel like Jones, streaky player. Give him a couple more weeks and he'll come back to reality. But can't lie, he has been performing at a high level for an NFL quarterback through 2 weeks this season. So we'll see if he can keep it up. That's the real question.
He's got to keep it up. And they go on the road to face the Titans in their first divisional matchup. We'll learn a lot about these Colts over the next few weeks and keep our eye on them. But they're probably the most intriguing team so far, right out of the gate here in the NFL season, starting off 2-0 in the way they have. But other than that, let's take a trip up north to Detroit and talk a little bit about the Bears and the Lions. I mean, these are two teams that the Bears having a meltdown in the fourth quarter. The Lions having a meltdown of a game, whatever you want to call their game against the Green Bay Packers, and a butt whooping, to call it lightly, in family friendly. We're keeping it family friendly here. Always keeping it PG. Remember, Xavier.
You know it.
But
That's your model.
yeah, but um, the Lions definitely showing up in a big way in week two, putting up 52 points, 5 touchdowns for Jared Goff, 3 touchdowns for Amon-Ra St. Brown. It was nice to see him back in the blue uniform, scoring points. Two guys scoring over 100 yards passing. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery showing up like their vintage selves. Gibbs looks like he's taken a big step forward, but it was just overall nice to see that offensive line being able to handle a defensive line, not having to deal with two guys in Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons just absolutely ruined the game. Were you shocked about that Lions offense? Do you think they're still legit? Take me through what you think about these Lions over the first 2 weeks.
I think this was the lines that we were expecting to see coming into the season. And Dan Campbell spoke to the team, got them all ready to play today or yesterday, and they just came out on the same page. They came out running the football. That offense functions when the running game is working. Amir Gibbs is at his best when he opens up the field for the rest of the team. Establishing that run, opening on play action for Jared Goff. That's just what that team needs to do week in and week out if they want to fully unleash the potential of that offense, and that's exactly what they came in and did yesterday. I mean, we've known the Lions to be a high-powered team over the years of late, and I think last week was more fluke than anything. Yesterday was a sign of things to come. Although, yes, it was against the Bears, but it was nice to see the Lions offense function at that high level against their former offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, now the coach on the other side. Dan Campbell showing Ben Johnson that he did have a bit to do with that offense as well, and that that offense is still going to function with or without him on that side. So that was nice to see, and looking to continue to watch the Lions early on in games. They averaged, I believe, around 10.7 yards per first down play in this game, opening up the field with that running game, making all of that possible. So if they can establish the run, look for that Lions offense to continue to be explosive week in and week out.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And they're going to be around for a while. Just taking a peek at their schedule, they might have the hardest schedule in the NFL. They got to play the Ravens next week, so they played Packers, Bears, then they got the Ravens. Go stay at home against the Browns, go on the road against the Bengals, Chiefs, come back home against the Bucks, Vikings, Commanders, Eagles, Giants, Packers again, Cowboys, Rams, Steelers, Vikings, and close the season against the Bears. I know I just went rapid fire there, Xavier, but this is a legit schedule. They have to play. This is already the toughest division in the NFL. They got to play the arguably second hardest division in the NFL in the NFC East. Do you think this Lions team is in trouble, especially if they can't figure it out? Especially if they can't get this offensive line together? Are they in for a ringer of a regular season? Do you think this team could be on a on a tough path to winning the NFC North once again? Do you
No,
think this team can
absolutely
win
not.
it?
I believe in the capabilities of this offense, and in the NFL today, it is an offense centric league. If your team can put up more points than the other team, you win football games. Now that's pretty simple, but I mean, this Lions offense, it's a special one, high powered, and not many teams can keep up with them when they're at their full capabilities. So I look for the Lions to ride the back of this offense, for them to continue coming in and week out, looking to produce early on in games. First down plays are where it's all going to happen. If they can produce even half of what they did yesterday, 5 to 6 yards on first down plays on average, then that can position them in a place to succeed. I hear a lot of wins there in that schedule you just listed off. Tough games, yes, but you got to remember Bengals now without Joe Burrow. Chiefs look to be spluttering, and then I would not be surprised if the Lions go into Baltimore next week and squeak one out. But we should stay tuned. That should be a great game right there.
No doubt about it. Monday Night Football next week, and that is the game that a lot of us are going to have circled for next week. Other than that, we got a couple other games we can take a peek at. Um, Really quickly, we don't got to talk about what the battle of trash cans between the Giants and Cowboys. Not to piss off Cowboys fans out there, but your team is one of those mid teams, and then the Giants are the Giants. Um,
Yes, but and that's true. But like, just shout out to Cowboys kicker Audrey over there. I mean, just having a kicker like that, many teams in the league wish to have a luxury like that. And I mean, you just got to start considering now. Do you play your defense different against the Cowboys in the final 2 minutes of the game in the 2 minute drill, knowing that they have a kicker out there who can go kick 64, 65 yards like it's nothing? That's just something, defenses have that thought in their mind. And there's not many players or kickers in the game that can factor into your game planning like Audrey does over there on the Cowboys. So good for someone like him, former soccer player drafted to the MLS, who sort of transitioned to football through non-traditional means. So good for that man for doing his thing.
no doubt about it. Brandon Aubrey was the hero to kick the game winning field goal as time expired over there. Anybody that had him in fantasy loved him and has been loving him over the last few years, as he's been one of the longest kickers in the league in terms of kicking some of the longest and most
Long,
accurate field goals.
long. What type of long?
What?
He hit the game-winning field goal, but also game tying. So let's give him credit. He 64 yarder
Yeah.
to send the game into overtime. Where the Cowboys settled, they could have gone for more yards. They could have run another play to try to move it closer. But no, Mike McCarthy and that coaching staff were content settling for the 64-yard field goal because of that leg on that man on that sideline.
No doubt about it. I mean, like I said, Brandon Aubrey is one of the more. He's what 27 of 30 or 28 of 31 from kicking from 50 plus now in the last 2 years or since he joined the league. He's one of the best kickers from 50 plus in the league. The only guy that could match up with him from before was Justin Tucker, and Justin Tucker is now. We don't got to get into that because we don't talk about that stuff on the podcast. We don't talk about the alleged stuff, just because we don't talk about that stuff here. But other than that, when we're talking about this game, can we touch on Russell Wilson? 450 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Malik Neighbors having 167 passing yard or receiving yards. Excuse me. Wandale Robinson, 142 rushing or passing yards or receiving yards. If I can get them right. Having two guys to go for that many yards, 2 touchdowns for Neighbors as well. Let Russ cook. Are we seeing 2019 Russell Wilson once again? And bad Cowboys defense, good Russell Wilson. What are your thoughts on what we saw this past weekend from the Giants offense?
I think that the Giants are still figuring things out, but this Cowboys defense is just fluttering. And more or less, this game was more of a referendum on the lack of a defense on that Cowboys side of the field than it was on Russell Wilson. Russ definitely bought himself a couple more weeks, which is a longer leash for that sideline. But that interception at the end of the game was just inexcusable. Inexcusable. Let it right to the Cowboys' arms. I mean, just disappointing to see after such a phenomenal performance for him. Vintage Russ. But to answer your question, no, I do not think this is 2019. Let Russ cook. This was Cowboys defense just not knowing what's going on over there on that side of the sideline.
Yeah, and I mean, they were Giants scoring 21 points in that fourth quarter, Cowboys with 20, 41 total points in that fourth quarter. It is a crazy, crazy time in the NFL, and I just don't know. I think this is underrated Giants, but overrated Cowboys. Am I crazy for saying that? So thus far this season.
Definitely overrated Cowboys right now.
Definitely overrated Cowboys, no doubt about it. They're now 1-1. Giants now 0-2. Two tough divisional matchups so far for them this year. They don't get any breaks going up against hosting the Chiefs next week. Brian Daboll already on the hot seat, and they're going to be a team just like the Dolphins that we're going to keep our eye on as we head towards the rest of the season. Other than that, there's a couple Monday Night Football games going on, one of which has already kicked off. The other one we mentioned is going to be kicking off in a couple hours here. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Texans, up 14-10 with the ball right now with 5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Baker Mayfield, 11 of 14, 2 touchdowns. Bucky Irving, classic, 7 carries, 40 yards. One of the more efficient running backs in the league. I expect him to continue to play at a high level. But Nico Collins, what a touchdown grab he had to close out to start the game off for the Texans, on their first drive. Tiptoe touchdown to start the game for the Texans. And honestly, who do you think is going to win this game, Xavier? Give you your quick picks on this one.
I think right now the Buccaneers have momentum. They have the chance to go double up on that score right here, put themselves up 21-10. Establishing a dominant lead going into the half. But give me the Texans. Give me the current underdogs. I know the Texans were slightly favored coming into this game, but right now, give me the current underdogs in the Houston Texans to pull out the game. Count on that defense to get some key stops down the line, and for Nico Collins and CJ Stroud to connect again late in this game.
No doubt about it. Texans, I'm rolling with you. The Texans at home in a tough game against the Buccaneers, but I expect them to pull it out. Especially the Buccaneers, they're still a great team. I'm not saying they're bad in any stretch, but I just think the Texans are that good. Coming off a tough loss against the Rams on the road, I expect them to bounce back at home in a big way and get this win here against the Buccaneers. But switching gears over to the other game, Chargers, Raiders. Chargers traveling on the road to Vegas. This game starting at 10 p.m. Crazy, crazy stuff. Um, I'm rolling with the Chargers. I know a lot of people. I think like the Chargers are holding 80%, 88% of the money line right now. I don't know if Vegas is going to get involved here with all that uh stuff going on, but I mean the Raiders are still a good team. I know they just beat up on your Patriots, but Brock Bowers will be playing tonight. He's expected to play. I think he's officially listed to play in this one. Geno Smith is going to have his favorite target. Jacoby Myers will still be there. It'll be another bounce back game for Ashton Genty after having a rough few weeks from the preseason to week one. Who do you got in this one? I got the Chargers. Are you rolling with them as well?
We're going with the LA Chargers. Give me Justin Herbert, 3 touchdowns today, 250 passing yards. We're going to see him take another step forward tonight as the Chargers look to start off the season 2-0.
Let's go, brother. I love it. We're staying on the same page here. Texans, Chargers. And any final thoughts? We'll probably do another actually before we go, just to have a little bit of fun. Give me your top 5 teams in the NFL after week 2. Really quick, if you can rattle them off the top of your head.
That's a tough one. But give me the defending champions. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles, number 1. And then in no particular order, I'll have the Lions, Niners, Ravens, and the Buffalo Bills rounding out the top 5 for me.
Interesting top 5 from Mr. Yepes over there.
While we're on that topic, I'd like to give some credit to former Patriot Mac Jones, who got put in for the relief start yesterday in San Francisco to replace the injured Brock Purdy, and he absolutely shined. Mac Jones, 279 passing yards and 3 passing touchdowns, an efficient all-around game for him. I mean, that's exactly what you want in a backup quarterback in this league. Bengals right now facing that with Browning now that Joe Burrow is out. But what a luxury that is for teams who know that their backup QB can step in like Mac Jones did yesterday and lead the team to victory.
Before we go, actually, I completely forgot about that. Thank you so much for bringing that back up. I completely forgot that Joe Burrow is now out with the grade 3 turf toe injury. He's going to need surgery and is going to be out for 3 months. Do you think this Bengals team can stay in contention here? Are they still a legit team in the AFC? Not only the AFC North, but the AFC in general. Can they still find a way to hang around until Joe Burrow can come back?
Unfortunately, I don't think so. Being without your starting quarterback for 10 to 12 weeks, that's just a nail in the coffin. Not many teams can overcome that. And as well as Browning may have played yesterday in relief of Joe Burrow after his injury, I do not believe that this Bengals team has what it takes to stay afloat during this injury. It sucks for the Bengals. Seems like they've been riddled by injuries year in and year out. And for them to finally start off a season 2-0, something they have not done since Marvin Lewis was head coach of that team years back, all those years back. It's really unfortunate to have this hot start. Change of the past last year, losing to the Patriots week 1. But just to lose your starting quarterback, franchise quarterback, 2 weeks in, it's just a killer.
No doubt about it. But this is still a Bengals team. I mean, Ja'Marr Chase still having 14 receptions for 165 yards. Jake Browning did throw for 3 picks, but did also throw for 2 touchdowns there. Still had 240 yards passing, but it does help having the best receiver in the NFL right now. No doubt about it with Ja'Marr Chase. I think they're going to be targeting him a lot, but this is still a Bengals team that has to compete in the NFC North. They got to play the next few games, and then he's going to be out for 3 months. So today is from yesterday. So let's say September 14th. Let's say at the earliest he can come back is December 14th. Their matchups from now until December 14th, they have to go on the road to Minnesota, on the road to Denver, come back home to play the Lions, back on the road for the Packers, home for the Steelers, home for the Jets, home for the Bears, back on the road to Steelers, home for the Patriots, Ravens, Bills, Ravens, and yeah, that last Ravens game back home will be on December 14th. Doing all of that those I know that's a lot of information that I'm just throwing right out there for you. But what is that? What is that? That's 10 games right there. And you got to play at least one, two, three, four, 5 games. 5 out of the 10 games are against former playoff teams that made the playoffs last year. I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. I don't think.
They're
I
in a
mean, we'll have to stay
really
tuned, but it's gonna be a battle.
They're going to be in a battle. These next 4 games, if they go 0-4 in these next 4 games, it's probably going to put a nail in the coffin. I mean, this is a Bengals team that already starts the season off so slow. I know they're 2-0 for the first time in a long, long time right now this year, or to start off the season. They normally start like 0-2, 0-3, 2-4. But when you play a 4-game stretch like they have to coming up, they're going to be in a tough spot. They're going to need to find out to pull out. They're going to need to find a way to pull out some wins, and if they can do that, they might be able to hang around. If they can break even 5-5, they can find a way to stay afloat. I just don't see it. I'm right there with you. I don't
Yeah,
think the Bengals. I think the Bengals might just miss the playoffs here for what this would be the
yeah,
second year in a row with Joe Burrow hurt.
it's gonna come down to the wire. But it's tough for you to say there's any must win this early in the season. But week 3, going against backup quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, you really got to win this game if you want to stay on a hot note as the Bengals. It's going to be the battle of the backup QBs down there in Minnesota. JJ McCarthy's out with a toe injury as well, I believe.
Yep.
So they must take advantage of this injury and of his absence. And there's no doubt about it. This is a game the Bengals must absolutely win if they want to put themselves in the best position for this season, facing 12 weeks without their starting quarterback.
No doubt about it. Bengals at Vikings. It's going to be Jake Browning going up against Carson Wentz, and I know Kevin O'Connell is an absolute offensive guru. He did it with Sam Darnold, got Sam Darnold to 11 wins last year, and it does help having Justin Jefferson in that elite backfield that they have with Aaron Jones. But it's going to be a very interesting game next week. Sunday, 1 o'clock kickoff, and we'll have a little bit of a preview on the page as well for that one here on the Triple Threat Show. Anything else
Sure.
that you want to touch on before those top 5 teams you rattled off your top 5? For me, top 5, and I still got to throw the Chargers in there at 5, but the Baltimore Ravens fall to 4. I got the Eagles at 3, the Packers at 2, and the Buffalo Bills. Or actually, no, I got the Bills at 2 and the Green Bay Packers at 1, especially after what we saw on Thursday Night Football, the way they handled business against the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels. I cannot believe the way they took care of business against Jaden Daniels, the way they were able to just smother that offense in Washington, an elite offense that the Commanders have right now. The Packers are the best team in the NFC. That's what week 2 Thursday Night Football proved. That's just right now. Is that going to be for the rest of the season? That's yet to be seen. But for now, I got the Packers as my number 1 team in the NFL.
Yeah, no, that's very valid. They were my first team out, but I mean, easily have the argument, easily could see them right up there at the NFC Championship game at the end of the season. Can they pull it out? I don't know. I don't know if I fully believe in the team, but you're right with the way they've been playing so far this season. They've shown doubters what they've got to do, and they've proved that they're a real team to be feared. So very valid list. Like 2 shout outs before we wrap this show up. Give it to the defensive linemen, the edge guys for getting paid this offseason. You got Milton Williams, big free agent signing for the Patriots, and then you got Trey Hendrickson holding out before getting the big time payday from the Bengals. Both of those guys getting the game ending sacks in their respective games, showing that they would deserve those big bucks that they were paid by their teams. Well worked those investments. You know, one other quick shout out to Patriot Kayshon Boutte. Followed up his 100-yard passing game last week with an insane touchdown grab this week. Perfect throw from May. Perfect catch from Boutte. Can't draw it up much better than that. You know, I think he's a name to be watched for those of you in fantasy leagues. Check if he's a free agent. He might be worth picking up. That was his one catch of the game. but Booty seems to be much more like that player we saw at LSU before he had those off the field issues. That was once touted to be a first round pick, a top 15 pick in the NFL draft. Can you get to that? We'll have to wait and see. But he's definitely shown flashes of that early this season and late last. So we'll have to look at him if he can emerge as the wide receiver one of the New England Patriots.
No doubt about it, my friend. We'll be back for more content, especially probably tomorrow. We'll be back with Jeremy Peterson, Nolan Jambor, full crew for another show for a Tuesday breakdown of the entire NFL. Coming at you every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at the very least. I like to do my own pitches with the special guest as well. But Xavier, this will not be your last time on the show. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you pulling through. I know you're going through some pains right now. I know your eyes giving you some trouble. I hope you get well soon, my friend. Hopefully, you'll be back very soon, and I can't wait for the next show, my friend. We'll be back very soon.
Thank you, Mahubi. We will be back. And New England will be back as well. Thank you and have a great night.
You too, brother. Have a good night, everyone. Be sure to follow the page, subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. We always look at our comments. Sometimes we do a video about them. So be sure to leave your thoughts on the video. What can we improve? Let me know what you guys liked and so forth. I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.